Located on the north shore of Lake Superior, Thunder Bay is an ever-expanding city that is rich in both people and resources, connecting northwestern Ontario to the rest of the world. The City of Thunder Bay is proud to provide its invaluable citizens and their respective families with plentiful and fresh drinking water. Our water supply is carefully monitored by two separate plants, including the Bear Point Water Treatment Plant on Lakeshore Drive and the Water Pollution Control Plant on Atlantic Avenue. If you have been contracted by the city to work on either of the aforementioned plants, you are obligated to stop at the front gates and buzz reception prior to gaining access to them. The plant's receptionist may also ask who you are there to see, as well as what you will be doing while on site. After the gates are opened and the contractors are given access to the plant, each of the contractors will be required to sign in with reception. Contractors will then attend a mandatory orientation session that will take place prior to starting any work on the job site. During the orientation, the contracted workers must provide copies of several forms and documents, including the Health and Safety Policy Program, their WSIB clearance certificate, the Undertaking to Comply form, and finally, a copy of their liability insurance. If a project is budgeted above $50,000, the contractors must provide a Notice of Project filled with MOL. Contractors will also be required to fill out a Daily Safe Work Permit at the start of every workday. Depending on the work being contracted by the city, the workers may need to provide photocopies of any documents pertaining to a particular job, including first aid, WHMIS, fall protection, traffic control, entrenching and excavation. Whenever heavy-duty equipment, like cranes, lifts, or backhoes, are operated on site, equipment certification must be provided by the contractors for all of their operators. If there are any subcontractors involved with your project, they must be identified and participate in the orientation as well. Personal protective gear will need to be provided for all contractors working on site, including work boots, vests, gloves, and hard hats. For fire-related work, proper fire protection attire must be worn. Fire extinguishers and other fire safety gear must be provided by the contractor. You will need to fill out a hot work permit prior to any hot work commencing. Contractors should also note that there is no smoking within 3 meters from any plant doorway or anywhere near digesters or explosive gases. Potential hazards should be reviewed prior to starting work. These include confined spaces, chemical gases, electrical hazards, and temperatures. It is also important that contractors realize that all equipment on site is automated and you may come in contact with the process. This is why contractors must never operate any equipment or valves without first receiving approval from the plant supervisor. The plant supervisor is the only person on site who has the authority to schedule valves or equipment to be shut down. You must also ensure that your entire workforce is aware of any overhead or underground hazards. In regards to construction areas, you must identify them by setting up the appropriate barricades and signs. Contractors must provide their own locks, tags, and lockout policies, as well as any tools that may be required to complete a given job. First aid kits and persons with certified first aid experience must also be provided by the contractors while their workers are on site. We will need to know who your health and safety representative is, as well as a number to reach them in case there is any type of emergency. For health purposes, workers should maintain a good sense of hygiene while on site, washing their hands frequently. The locations of fire extinguishers and smoke detectors need to be reviewed before starting work, especially where welding and cutting are concerned. While on site, contractors must be aware of two distinct types of paging alarms. The first being the digester alarm, which emits this sound. The second is a fire alarm, which emits this sound. If you hear either of these alarms, you should stop what you're doing immediately and report to the front desk. Last but not least, speed limit signs have been posted around the site and they must be adhered to at all times. Now that the orientation session has been completed and the contractors have met all of the plant's requirements, the contractors are free to begin working on site. We expect each and every contractor to work responsibly and safely, adhering to all the rules and guidelines laid out during the orientation session. Your health and safety is a priority to the City of Thunder Bay at all times. At the end of the day, we want to ensure that everyone leaves the plant safely.